Where are we? Oh, there's the camera there.
Yeah, just a conversation between each other. Don't worry about the camera.
All right.
There. Ready? And...
All right, I'm Bob Ambrogi. Welcome to the ILTACon live stream here. I am a writer about legal technology. I have a blog called Law Sites. I also do a podcast called Law Next, and happy to be being part of this inaugural ILTACon live series here. And I am here with, I'm going to have you introduce yourself and say who you are.
Sure, thanks Bob, great to talk to you. I'm Triona Buckley. I'm a Chief Product Officer with Actionstep, which is a law firm operations platform, so legal accounting and practice management. So yeah, excited to be here on the floor.
Yeah, how's ILTACon been for you so far?
It's been really good. We really look forward to ILTACon every year. You know, it's just a great community event, and get the chance to talk to some of our customers and a lot of our technology partners. Actually, that's one of the things we love about ILTACon is just the technology community and getting to have those really strategic conversations on the floor. So it's awesome.
Yeah, I'm going to ask because everybody's been asking me, how many ILTACons have you been to? Do you know how many you've been to?
Yeah, I believe it's actually maybe 5 in a row. We might have been a little bit more sporadic before that, but I'm pretty sure this is our kind of 5th as a presence on the floor type of thing. So we would have always have had team here. But yeah, the last, as we've sort of moved up market in terms of the types of law firms that we, have as customers, bigger firms, that sort of thing, ILTACon makes a lot more sense for us, obviously, so yeah.
Mm-hmm. So just for the advantage of people who may not be all that familiar with Actionstep, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do and who you serve, really?
Yeah, absolutely. So we are, as I said, a law firm operations platform, mostly for mid-sized law firms. So it tends to be a mix of mixed practice law firms or boutique firms, kind of multi-office boutique firms, that sort of thing. We're actually in multiple locations. So we have a really big customer base in Australia and a little in New Zealand. That's where we were founded. We have a pretty decent customer base in North America, and then we've got a really growing customer base in the UK as well. So quite a kind of global view of what's happening in the mid-market, and that's really our North Star is really understanding that market, building a fantastic platform for that, what we believe to be a to date sort of underserved segment of the law firm market.
Yeah. What's been the expansion in the United States? I think the last time I looked at Actionstep was a couple of years ago. We had a conversation about some of your strategies around growing in U.S. markets. So what's been going on with that?
Sure. So I mean, look, we entered the U.S. market, quite some years ago, and what's really wonderful about Actionstep is how configurable it is, and so it's one of the reasons why it works so well for lots of different types of practice areas. So when we first entered the market, we actually really focused on some very niche practice areas, and our product was very much able to be configured for those, and so that played really well with, like I say, boutique kind of firms, so that's so as I said, it was about maybe 10 years ago. We've expanded a lot in the meantime. We have about 2,000 customers here now, and we've also more recently, about a year and a half ago, acquired a legal accounting product called Saluno, who are based out of Canada, and so they are now
Winnipeg, which had owned it before.
Correct, exactly. Yep. So they so that's now Actionstep Legal Accounting. So and it just means we have this really great end-to-end platform, for North American customers.
Yeah, that was one of those acquisitions that made a lot of sense to me because it was a perfect fit.
Yes.
It seemed to me for Actionstep, and it was like kind of custom made for your audience, for your market.
It really is, and it's a wonderful, wonderful product, and we've had some fantastic customers, but actually really importantly to us at Actionstep, we had such great team members come across as well with that platform. So much great legal tech talent, kind of injecting into Actionstep in the North American market in particular, so that's been great.
So what's new with Actionstep now? What have you been focusing on more of lately?
Sure. So I mean, I actually got stepped into this seat running product management about 6 months ago, and my focus really is about how do we set Actionstep up for success for the next number of years. And so I've really been focused on putting together our kind of next 2-year strategic roadmap, and sort of intertwined with that is we have launched a Centre of Excellence around AI. We've been very, very thoughtful about how we've wanted to bring AI into our product. There's obviously so much talk about AI, but and so many fantastic products out there. A lot of them in that Gen AI space, which as a sort of an operations platform focused on the business of law, Gen AI doesn't necessarily make a huge amount of sense to us. We have bits and pieces of it in our product already, particularly around time. But actually with the kind of, influx of agentic AI, that really makes a lot of sense for us. And so what we've kind of really built into our longer term roadmap now is how do we actually bring agentic AI into what's already a really strong workflow platform, into some of our reporting, into some of the search functionality, that sort of thing, and documents, how documents are managed and accessed in Actionstep. So we can really, we built out a really strong future where it's really about building great product and just sort of weaving AI functionality throughout it, so that people really are seeing those efficiency gains, and it feels like an extension of their natural workflow rather than sort of jumping in and out of different point solutions to try and deliver a particular task, so making that feel seamless in your day-to-day.
What is the center of excellence? I mean, do you mean, is it kind of like a lab? Is it a group focused on how to best practices, implementation, that sort of thing?
Yeah. Look, there is an element of there's a few different streams to it. I think you have to sometimes put a name on something to actually make it something that you really care about, own, focus on, and so but there's a few different elements to it. One is, as I say, product. What are we going to do in the product, and so really having that clear vision of, it's AI for the business and management of law, and then the other piece is around, really engendering some fantastic AI practices across our team, and not just our engineering and product teams, but actually all of our teams. So we recently launched Scout, which is our AI support chatbot. So that really helps our customers just get the answers they need very quickly, rather than sort of sifting through help articles and things like that. It also really helps our customer team be very efficient. But they also are using their own AI support products behind the scenes. So not necessarily customer facing, but helping them be more efficient and that sort of thing. So across the business, really making sure that we're actually utilizing the tools that are available to us. And then the other piece is team. So we've put together a really strong team that are focused on the future of AI, the future of law. So we've got a really strong leader, Franco Primavesi, who is an expert in AI and data and all of those things. And then we've hired 2 engineering teams that are really focused on that whole world. So that's sort of those 3 things combined make up that center of excellence.
And I guess something I'm always wondering about is when you're in your shoes working on product, what are you hearing from your customers? What are they asking for? What are they fearful of? What are they excited about?
Yes. We ask a lot, actually. Our whole roadmap was based on what our customers have asked for, and we've been really transparent about that, and we engage with our customers on what we're planning and ask them to give feedback, and so we're constantly evolving and tweaking our plans based on what we hear specifically from our own customer base. We also do quite a few market surveys, and all of that information, we publish these surveys in the mid-market. All of that information helps to inform our strategy as well. The things that we're hearing really are, the things that we focus on around workflow and really connecting data from, if you think about how a law firm works, everything from intake all the way through to a bill cycle and beyond, making sure that data is managed well, is utilized correctly all the way through, not having these silos of information sitting across a firm, so that the people who should have access to the information do have access to it. From a client point of view, law firms really care about their clients feeling like they're getting the same service from whoever they speak to in the firm, whether it is a billing administrator or the partner that they work with, or the reception on the front desk, that they can interact with that client in a really high quality way because they've access to the same data, they know who they are, they feel known by that firm. So those are some of the things. Client experience is something that firms consistently really care about, and so we really look at how we make sure that that's enabled in their practice management system. The other obviously, yes, of course, there are a lot of questions about AI and what it means for them and how they use it, and we've tried to be a good thought partner with our customers on that, to help them to really think through the best use cases and how they can kind of help their team to sort of adopt things appropriately. And then the other piece that's coming through really strong from our customers is around change management. With change management. Yeah. I know that word is overdone, right? Yeah. But it's just with the adoption of all of these new tools, it creates without some really thoughtful process mapping and thinking through, what they actually want to do, in their business, and what they're trying to achieve with some of these things. firms just end up with a collection of tools that isn't particularly useful to their business goals. And so, that we have a fantastic partner consulting community that we, engage our customers with and help them to work through that sort of change management process. And at the mid-size, we kind of see upper market change management is a bit more of a known quantity. You've got some teams of people who are focused on innovation and change management, that sort of thing. You don't have that at the mid-market,
Right.
and so we do, like I say, with this fantastic partner community that we have, help to sort of, fill in those gaps and support our customers in relation to that.
Yeah. Anything else new with Actionstep? Anything else you're working on?
Yeah, so we have some really exciting things that we're working on right now, actually. We just came out in the last year or so with a great product called Builder, which is document automation, and we've just launched Capture, which is an advanced forms product, so kind of more in that workflow space, but actually the things we're working on that I'm really excited about are a whole new business intelligence module that also has AI insights across it, so that when you're looking at the data, you actually can understand what it's telling you. Sometimes you can look at a chart and you're like, well, I don't really know what to do with this information. So, using AI to sort of inform what actions they should take based on what they're seeing.
Yeah.
Working on that.
What kinds of stuff is subsumed within the business intelligence module?
What sits there?
Explain it, yeah.
Yes, absolutely. I'm sorry. Yes, it's so like visual dashboards.
Yeah.
So like it's really from if you think about from a management point of view, like what are the 10 things that you need to look at every single day so that you understand the health of your business.
Yeah.
So it's really making sure that they're seeing all that, but like I say, they're not just seeing it; they actually can absorb it and take action based on what they're seeing. So that is. We've always had fantastic reporting in Actionstep, but making it more user-friendly, interactive, and sort of that ability to kind of question what you're seeing, that sort of thing. So that's, we're working on that at the moment, and that's sort of coming out to early next calendar year. We also have an integration with iManage coming out around the same time, so that's another exciting one for us. One of the things that Actionstep was sort of built on is a very open playing field, so we do integrate with other tools. We want to play nicely with the tools that our customers use, and make that really easy, and again, like I say, that sort of data seamlessness is really important as part of those integrations. So, that iManage is one that we've been asked for quite a bit from customers, so that's coming out soon.
Yeah. The mid-size firm practice management landscape is kind of interesting to me because it seems that it's much more in flux or evolving than maybe larger firm or even smaller firm. Mm-hmm. So do you feel that way at all, or and how do you kind of how do you look at that landscape in terms of who's serving mid-sized firms and how they're serving them, and differences and commonalities?
Mm-hmm. Just in terms of just like how they think about their own practice management, that sort of thing.
I guess I'm just as somebody who is embroiled in this world. How do you feel like there's a lot of evolution still to take place here in this market,
yes.
or are we kind of mature? Or what?
Yeah, we're definitely seeing like just a professionalization of practice management, especially in the mid-market, we've noticed actually, that the sort of operations roles and true practice management roles are coming to the fore more and more, it sort of maybe used to be something that people did off the side of their desk, or maybe, paralegals or partners actually just had to, conduct the practice management as part of their day jobs to a certain extent, So that sort of professionalization of the role and bringing in, real business managers into these mid-sized firms, making really strong business decisions, doing some of that and thinking about, where's our firm going, where are we driving this business towards, and then sort of from our point of view, like what sort of technology do we need to support that, definitely seeing that, and you're seeing that particularly, in that sort of upper mid-market, those slightly larger mid-market firms in particular. Yeah. And we would have seen that in all of our geographies, you see it, I would say the United Kingdom probably, already had a lot of that kind of professionalism in there in that sort of like business management, operations management space. Mm-hmm. But we're just seeing it a lot more now in North America.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. What else is on the roadmap for Actionstep? What's ahead for the next year? What are we going to talk about next year here?
Yeah, so what are we going to talk about next year? Yeah. So, the other couple of things that we're looking at are around workflow. So, I mean, the thing that has always been sort of Actionstep's secret sauce is our workflow and our matter management capability. And as I said earlier, with agentic AI kind of coming into the mix, adding that automation layer to our current really strong workflow is going to be a longer term project. It's probably a 2026 thing, but yeah, so that's also in play for us. So those are big chunky things that are going to make like a big difference to our customers. So we've got our whole team rallied around it. So it's a really exciting time. Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Anything else you wanted to
chat about?
Well,
I wanted to ask you, what are you seeing on the floor here? Are you seeing anything interesting or different this year versus previous years?
Well, it is interesting. I think what's interesting, and I actually talked about this with a couple of different people who said this. I've heard other people say this, and I've been thinking this, which is, look at ILTACon for the prior 2 years and what we were talking about. 2 years ago, we were kind of like starting to talk about this Gen AI thing and what it all means, right? And then last year, people were talking about the kind of the possibilities of what we can do with it, talking a little more, having a more mature conversation about it, but still exploratory.
Yeah.
This year, you're really starting to see stuff happen, stuff be done, things get built. And there's been some pretty interesting product launches, I think, here. So, I mean, the energy here is amazing this year.
Yes.
This is, I think, the largest ILTACon ever, as I understand it. So you can really kind of feel the excitement in the industry. And there was a period when you didn't feel that in the legal tech industry. Things were kind of dormant, I felt. You probably wouldn't have seen it that way, maybe, but to me, there was several years of like same old, same old.
Yeah.
But right now, it's a really exciting time.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think you're right. I think like initially when we saw, an AI in particular sort of being talked about, it was, the gains weren't as extreme as they feel like they are now, and there's so many more platforms now that you can utilize to really kind of, bring these things into reach. It felt like these were a little bit, out of reach for law firms, and now I think they're really starting to see the use cases and how it can actually work for them, and connecting the tools in together, I think that's the piece that maybe was missing. It was like, okay, that's great that one thing does something amazing over here, but how do I actually bring that into my day-to-day, and how does it make me a better lawyer for my client, So I think they're starting to see how they can actually bring these things into their kind of day-to-day, So I definitely feel that, and I do feel like the conversations that people are having are much more informed. Like we're all growing up as an industry and kind of understanding this a little bit more as well, so we're able to have more productive conversations.
Yeah. Well, thanks for sitting down and talking to me. It's been a real pleasure to catch up with you and hear what you're up to.
Absolutely. Pleasure to talk to you. Thank you so much.
All right. Well, that does it for this session of ILTACon Live, I guess.